Mystery Rummy series of games by Mike Fitzgerald has been around for several years now. And they've always done something very interesting. They've taken regular rummy, the kind you play with a deck of cards, and added a theme to it, added some new mechanisms, and made it something really interesting, a neat combination. The latest one is right here, Mystery Rummy Escape from Alcatraz. This is number 5 in the official Mystery Rummy series, and it too takes a very interesting theme, that of being a guard at Alcatraz. You're not a convict, so sorry. And you are attempting to foil plans of escape. Mike Fitzgerald has a co-designer on this game. That's Andrew Corson, which is very interesting. Adds some new perspective in there. And the game does a couple of unique and different things. Let's take a look at it, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you what my final thoughts are. In Escape from Alcatraz, each player represents a prison guard who is attempting to foil escape plans. And you're going to be doing that by drawing cards, discarding cards in front of you, and trying to empty your hand of cards before anybody else does, so you can score some big points. Let me show you how the game works. First thing you're going to do is set up the game. Give a good shuffle to this deck, this action deck as well. You're going to flip over cards from this until you get a convict. Now this card here is a plan card, and this is the only other kind of card besides a convict. Okay, and these come in several colors. As you can see there, it's worth 2 victory points. It has that symbol in the top corner right there, and it says what the plan is. In this case, sawing through the bars. That's going to get them far. There's another one there. Sneak off in disguise. Unless you're going to the wrong island, then they get you. And this one here is a convict. There you go. Rufus. We're going to throw Rufus there in the yard, and you are ready to start. Everybody gets 10 cards from the deck, and you take off. The way it works is you're going to have your 10 cards here, and on your turn you are going to either draw the top 2 cards from cell block, which is the deck, or the top card there of the discard pile. I already have 2 of these cards, so that third one's good for me, so I'm going to take this one. Alright? Now that I have all these, I can, on my turn, play some cards in front of me, and I have to end my turn by discarding one. You can play at most 1 new convict to the yard, and you can play in front of you as much as you're able to. In this case, I can start a new set with 3 or more of these. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to play these in front of me. Now, when I do that, every time you play in front of you, you have to flip one of these action cards and do what it says. So let's take a look at that. Alright, this one says it's that self-search. And it says turn over the top 3 cards in the cell block. Choose one to add to your hand, discard the others to solitary. Okay, so I would go in here, I would grab 3, and let's say I want to keep that red card. Fine. And I'm going to discard the other 2. Alright. So there's my hand, I've done that. Now, later on, if someone has started a plan, I can lay off cards on it. So, for example, let's say this person has started a red plan. I am able to, on my next turn, play just a single red to add to that grouping, okay? Another thing that's important is, for there to be a new set of cards, there has to be a convict out here to support that set. It does not matter if they match or not, but for every set there has to be a convict. So, for red to have started that set, they would have had to have played 1 more convict from their hand out to the yard. Alright? Now, the object of the game here obviously is to empty my hand, go all out. I'm going to score some points, but how do you foil these plans? When there are enough cards on the table to foil a plan, then you may do so, and it takes 8 cards of the same color to foil a plan. So let's say I played 1 more of these, and that is the 8th on the table. Well, at that point, I can take these, I can say, that gentleman did it, I can grab him. Now be aware, if the right color was out there, this guy, I could actually use him, which is much better. That's 10 points, not 5. I'm going to take all of these cards, I'm going to put them under my foiled handy-dandy card here. That's points. Everybody else will do the same with their cards, and we continue playing. I always, don't forget, have to end my turn by putting out a discard, like so. Alright? And every time you play to the table, once per turn anyway, you have to draw one of these and do what it says. Alright, work detail, either draw 2 cards from cell block, or any 1 card from solitary. That's why they're spread out like that. Okay? Once you have All of these played out to the table. Let's assume you played them all out. You foiled some plans. Once you go out with a discard, the round is over. You're going to score everything you put under the foiled card. If you're the one who went out, you're also going to get 3 points for every one of these still in the yard. And everybody else will simply score everything under their foiled card. Nothing on the table matters anymore. Nothing you're still holding on to in your hand matters anymore. And that's pretty much the game. You score that up, you shuffle up, play another round. Once someone goes over 100 points, the person with the most points is the winner. So there you have it, Mystery Rummy Escape from Alcatraz. I really like this game. From the Mystery Rummy series, I think my favorites are Jack the Ripper, and I think after that, this one. I really like it because I love the simplicity of the scoring. I love that when you score, nothing on the table matters, nothing in your hands matters, just what you've been able to foil. And if you're the guy who went out, then you get victory points also for those convicts. Another thing I did not mention in the review, when you go out, if you're the one who empties your hand and nothing has been foiled yet, meaning no card has gotten to 8 on the table, then you score the convicts for their full value, those guys sitting on the yard. So for example, if you are scoring one of these fellas here, which are the generic, you don't get 3 points for these guys, you get 5. And for the infamous, the colored ones, you're going to get 10 for those. So a couple of those out there, and you go out before anything gets scored, you get 20 points. That's a very interesting twist, because if you're emptying your hand very quickly, you might want to rush that without scoring anything, just so you can get a big load of points just from what's sitting out there in the yard. Very cool. I really like also the deck of actions. That's a new thing. And I just love the way it adds to the mystery of the game. You know, you're trying to foil these plans, find out what's going on, get enough cards to figure it out, and you have these monkey wrenches thrown in your way. I think that's very interesting. Now, some of the people I played with really disliked that deck. They thought it was too random, it happened too frequently, but I was a big fan. I think it's neat. I think it's cool being able to flip a card, you read what it does, you do it, you discard it, no complexity, but enough fun twists and turns to liven up the game that could otherwise be very similar to Rummy. A neat game, but, you know, a bit dated. So, Mystery Rummy Escape from Alcatraz, I think, is a really neat game. I think you're going to get some mileage out of this with friends and family. I recommend it highly. Go out and check it out.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.